I'm telling you about my latest venture. If you want to get involved with my venture that I'm trying to get involved in, but we'll talk about that off air.
Okay.
But first of all, I want to say thank you from the bottom of my heart, because being a dude, first and foremost, there are things that you told me that I thought I would prove you wrong, and I didn't.
Well,
do you remember telling me, you know, being this little wannabe manager from Griffin, Georgia, so-called having my super group of 9 rappers, you remember that? And you told me in 6 to 12 months, all of them but one will hate you. You remember telling me that?
Yeah.
And I was like, no.
Always become the enemy.
I was like, no, we like brothers. No way, never. No. Needless to say, I only talked to one of those gentlemen today.
That's the nature of the beast, as they would say.
And that one, I talked to him, but I don't believe, if he says 3 words, I don't believe but 1. So, big shouts out to him.
I think I know that guy.
Yeah, he hasn't changed from back then.
Oh, okay.
But you know, I don't know if you gave a shot to the group or the manager from Griffin or a combination of both, but I appreciate that.
Well, I try to speak the truth. And the second single from my album, which is going to be Hell, That's Where I'm Going, that's the first line. Am I damned because I tell the truth?
Oh, you damned because you tell the truth. Have you recorded the record yet?
Yeah, I've recorded it, yeah.
Why you didn't bring it with you?
Well, I don't have, it's not finished, and I don't have a clean version of it, I'm doing the first verse, and I have, it's just sort of like a metal song, and, the second verse is done by a death metal artist, his name is Will, he's on a Deathgasm Records, So, I mean, it's going to be a pretty controversial song. You wait till you see the video from this. Now, I have a film company, so I'm going to shoot really high-quality videos for all this stuff that's going to be very controversial. I can tell you that now. In fact, Hell, That's Where I'm Going, you're going to have to be in that video.
I'm definitely going to come out.
Oh, no, you got to be in this video. I'm going to give you a feature part,
Okay.
I want you to be one of the people that's going to be shouting in the crowd. There's going to be an angry mob that's going to say, Godfather, you're going to hell, And then, they're going to tar and feather me, ride me out of town on the rail. I'm going to rap my verse being tarred and feathered, on the back of a wagon. So, it's going to be pretty controversial,
And speaking of being controversial and being the first, it's 5:24, so we'll take up another 3 hours just talking about your career. But being controversial and being the first, a lot of people might not know your history, but like, you were the first person to do, I might be wrong about this one, but you done the rap opera man.
All right, Kool-Aid's in the rap opera.
Ooh.
Yeah.
I went back there.
Vic. You're going way back.
So, if in Atlanta, we're rich with hip-hop history here. But my man, the Godfather, done Kool Ace, the rap opera man, which was hip-hop styled opera cappella. Describe it.
Well, first it was Kool-Aid in the rap opera, and I had to change it. General Mills sit there and sue me, what I'm saying, if I put the records out Kool-Aid, because of the product. But we changed it to Kool-Aid in the rap opera man, and Kool would rap, and the opera man would sing opera in the background. So it was really unique, and they performed. This was before Hammer, they performed and danced, and I mean it was incredible, the kind of show that they put on. Kool-Aid still is one of the hottest as far as performances, rapper in the business. I mean, nobody really can match Kool-Aid's performance. I haven't seen any,
So what happened to the opera man?
Well, the opera man sort of retired. I mean, I think Kool-Aid sort of killed off the opera man, He didn't like sharing the spotlight,
Okay. Now, after the rap opera man, then you done an album on Kool-Aid, and I can't remember what was the name, because they had a long.
The Therma, Static Zone.
A classic A-Town album all the way through. No bad records.
Yeah, we had, had a lot of careers started off of that. Big Zach was on that record. That was one of the first records. Well, the first record he was on. Backbone, you know, he was sleeping while I was working on like Goody Mob and TLC albums like that, and like, you know, soundtracks like New Jersey Drive and stuff like that. Backbone and Oddball, they would be sleeping under the studio, under the console in the studio at Curtain Records, you know, waiting their turn, you know, because after, you know, after Outkast, you know, Goody Mob was the next, you know, album that they were working on from the Organized Noise Camp. And you know, all the guys, CeeLo, you know, all of them, you know, were there, you know, trying to hone their skills, you know. So you know, that was an interesting time. I mean, a lot of creative things came out of that era. A lot of them, you know. I worked on a bunch of records, you know.
Now, after Cool Ace, then you ushered in a new era where you took a chance on what us real ATLians know, a reggae DJ.
Yeah, in fact, it's funny. Lil Jon also was working here at the time.
Yes, Lil Jon is alumnus.
Right, he was working doing the reggae show on V103 with Paul Lewis, but he also was doing World Party with Emperor Cersei here.
Right.
And God, what is his name? He works with got my mind. I'm getting old. You know, Shaka Zulu.
Yeah, Shaka Zulu.
Shaka Zulu also was working here with him too.
But you took this reggae DJ and made him the king of crunk. What the record called Who You With.
I made him the king of crunk. This is how it happened. Well, John, you know, used to hang out at my sessions and stuff. You know what? See, I'm sort of crazy. You know, I got a lot of nerve. I've always
Take your medicine.
I've always had a saying, you know, boldly go where no man has gone before. I try to raise the bar with everything that I do. I'm not trying to, you know, imitate. I'm trying to initiate. You know, I'm trying to be the first, you know, to do everything. So, you know, during that time, John brought a song to me, and he said, you know, I got a chant. I want to do a record on it. He said that every time we do it, it was a club called the Gate in Decatur. He said every time we do this song, the crowd goes wild. So he said, I got these two guys that jump up on stage with me when I do it. I want to, you know, we call them East Side Boys, you know, Sam and Bo. You know what I'm saying? I want to do a record. So I said, okay, well, you know, let's hear it. I said, let's do it. Because anything at that time that was popular in the Gate, I wanted to do it. Because he's talking about 3,000 to 4,000 kids that like something. So, you know, that's the kind of records I wanted to put out. And we recorded it, you know, and the rest is history.
I mean, but that was on Mirror Image, your label, but the album came out on Mirror Image, right?
Right.
Which had Shawty Freak a Little Something, which...
Yeah, it had Jazzy Face singing on it, and DJ Toop actually produced that record, too. You know. In fact, Who You With was the first song that Lil Jon produced himself. He was doing records. Well, he did a remix for me. I had a remix of Pimpin' in the South that had Too Short, MC Breed, and Kool Ace on it, you know, and Lil Jon, you know, and Paul Lewis produced that, you know, and DJ Wiz during that time was actually doing all the programming for him. Lil Jon didn't know how to, you know, program the drums or anything. So the first song, they went out and bought a MP, and the first song that they did was Who You With. Back then it was the dynamic duo. But of course, you never heard of Paul Lewis. He quickly was killed off, you know, and Lil Jon became a solo producer, you know.
Okay. Now, from that, you branched off into the movies and released a very controversial DVD called Really, Really Pimpin' in the South.
Yeah, we did.
Oh, man.
Well, we started, yes, I started shooting it. The way that came about, I was doing a book on Sir Charles' life. And to start the book, you know, I did audio and you know, and visual tapes of him talking about, you know, his whole career, you know, as a pimp. You know, and as we started, you know, filming, you know, his interviews, you know, I quickly started to realize that, you know, this is pretty interesting. So I got a few more, you know, friends that were pimps and got them to actually put their story, you know, on film for me. Of course, like I say, the federal government, you know, didn't take too much favor to it. You know, You know, they used, you know, it was during the same time when they were doing a big investigation on prostitution, you know, and child prostitution in Atlanta. And they tried to use my movie, you know, well, they did use it in the indictment, you know, but they put it as if the pimps had made the movie, you know, and they used it as a tool to teach juvenile females how to be prostitutes, which was a crop, you know, it had nothing to do with that.
And if you've seen it, you know it was a crop.
Yeah. But, you know, there again, you know, the federal government can do what they want to do. You know, and the people they sold it. It was a stretch. You know, I don't think they really thought they could get a conviction. But you know, anytime that you get co-defendants that you know are going to cop to something that never happened, you know, they put it out there that Sir Charles was the head of the big pimping mafia that never was in Atlanta.
And from after that movie, then you done a classic. And after I tell this history, then you know, I don't know if people are getting it, but you were doing the first, because after Pimpin' in the South, then we get American Pimp by the Hughes Brothers.
Yeah.
From that, you done the Gentleman Club versus Club Mickey's.
Right. Yeah, the Millennium Shakeoff. You know.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
Millennium Shakeoff.
Yeah. So.
And then after that, it was just a shake-off boom of DVDs and VHS.
Yeah, like I say, you know, but see, you know, I'm going to tell you a little science behind that. Why that kind of thing was happening, because see, everybody knew that Carlos Glover was broke. He had no money. So once they saw me do it, being as broke as I was, they figured they got to be able to do it. Yeah. See, and that's one thing that, you know, I love. I mean, you know, inspiring people to understand, because, you know, I have a saying, you know, never let money separate you from your dreams.
Well, now you have to say one thing though, Carlos. The Hughes brothers did have a little money. They did. Not none of the rest of them.
Well, but that's my point.
Oh yeah,
see, I was doing when they saw me doing it. When everybody saw me do it with no money, that's what I'm saying. That's why all these people that had much more money than I had figure they can do it. I mean, it always surprises me that people with well financed really don't want to take a chance and try new and innovative ideas until they see somebody else do it. You know,
that's broke.
You know, right? That's what inspires them. You know, to take a chance and try something. You know.
You taught me that back in some of those sessions of me driving from Griffin, bringing my artists. I remember those. That's something else you told me. Never let money separate you from your dreams.
You know, I live by that.
And you taught me that probably because me and you met over 10 years ago.
Oh, probably more like, you know, close to 15. Yeah, I would imagine.
You remember Rosa?
Rosa, that name sounds very familiar.
Yeah, we'll talk about Rosa later.
Y'all tell that one. We want to hear about that. And for those of you people who don't know, my name is Sandman. And if anybody can, the Sandman can. And when they filmed that pimping movie, that house where you see the lady in the red dress is where I lived at. The Sandman.
That's one of my partners right here.
Oh yeah. Where you see that black Zimmer. Where you see that black Zimmer. And where you see that white lady in that red outfit, partner, I live right there. Right where you saw him in the pimp movie. And when you saw really pimping in the South, I was standing behind the camera right behind Carlos. And those were my artists, Baby George and L-Dog, performing for the pimps. At the picnic in the Mississippi Mafia.
Mississippi Mafia.
Yes, sir. And in case you don't know, I got experience. I go back with pimps all the way to the 40s, baby. So these youngsters don't want to mess with me.
To the 40s, man?
Hey, man, I was here in the 40s, getting down in the 50s, laying it out in the 60s, all around in the 70s, doing it in the 80s, beating them up in the 90s, all over in 2000. I'm here right now, baby. These youngsters can't last long as me. This Sandman. If anybody can, Sandman can. Youngsters go down early. Look here, man. These youngsters out here with these girls and these women right now. But they need to thank an old player like Sandman. Cause my generation, the one that got with their mamas and grandmas, and that's how y'all got girls here. And the next time you see some old players like us, thank us for that, fellas, all right? Sandman.
You need to do a documentary on Sandman.
I heard that.
Oh man, Sandman world renowned. Sandman down like a clown, baby. It ain't joking though, okay? I'm all the way all over everything, man. I'm here, I'm there, I'm everywhere. My name in concrete. You go downtown in Atlanta by City Hall, you walk all up Trinity. You see in the concrete, Sandman was there. My name all over the concrete. You go to Cincinnati, you go to Ridin Road and Rockdale and the Monument, my name in the concrete. You go to the wall up on 125th Street, up there in Harlem, my name in the concrete. Sandman been around a few places. You go to Inkster in Michigan, Sandman name in the concrete. So Sandman been around a few places.
What's your favorite place, Sandman?
Oh man, laying up next to something nice.
I know Sandman gonna have a feature on the album.
I got it right in the hook. I got a song I'm doing called The Bag Man.
Yes, sir.
You know, and right in the middle, you know what it says? What's up, Sandman? The Bag Man.
Yes, sir.
So,
Yes, sir.
how does it feel being the innovator of so many things? But now you're stepping from behind, because you've been behind the scenes forever. Now you're finna step out front. Like, first and foremost, why?
Well, you know, in life you try to do as much as you can before you die. And that's the only thing I haven't done.
Been an artist.
That's right. That's the only, well, I can't say an artist being a solo artist, you know, because we used to have a clique we used to call RPOW, Real Pimps on Wax. You know what I'm saying? You know, that probably was my first experience at, you know, in principle, you know, being a part of a group, you know. But I can say it's something. I mean, I'm having a lot of fun doing this. I'm gonna tell you though, this is probably the most fun I've ever had in life. You know what I'm saying? Is investing my money into myself.
So, what are some of, because we've talked off air, but what are some of the ways you plan on promoting the project?
Well, I really don't want to disclose a lot.
Okay.
Because see, what happens, I mean, and let me tell you why. I don't want to talk about it because, you know, I consult record labels for a living. And I've tried to sell the concepts I'm going to do with my project to a lot of people. But, you know, they can't see them. They don't understand this. They're so simple and so inexpensive that they don't think that this could possibly work. Now, watch, again, once they see me do this, being as broke as I am doing it, then all of a sudden you're going to see the whole industry follow the patterns of what I do in marketing of this record.
And you know what? As I think, I need to sit down and just do a piece on you. But because you introduced me to Yola the Great.
Yeah, we started that whole gutter movement. I've been at the forefront, you know what I'm saying, of every major hip-hop movement, you know, out of Atlanta. In fact, I could have done the first rap record ever. Only thing is I didn't show up at the studio.
You know, you were the first person to let me hear a record that incorporated the A-Town Stomp, which ended up, people basically gave it to the Young Bloods, but you brought me a record probably a year before the Young Bloods was doing it. But I can't remember, you had a bunch of people on this record.
Yeah, you know, Lil Jon was on it. That was
Two-Step Drop was what it was called.
Two-Step Drop, yeah. Yeah, but that's what I mean, you know, a lot of the things, see, at my age, you know what I'm saying, I have a strict policy. I only date 18 to 21-year-old women. You know, so and the science behind that, because I try to keep my ear to the ground on what the demographics I just told you, what they like. That's the only way I can keep in tune, you know, with where the public is. I try to, you know, all the new things emerging, you know, from the mist, I try to be there when they're emerging. You know what I mean? I don't know how to take risks. I mean, I'm up, you see I'm up now, you know what I'm saying? I don't, you know, I got up at, you know, 7:30 this morning, 7 o'clock this morning, you know what I'm saying?
You ain't been to sleep.
I haven't been to sleep. And I'm far too old to be doing all this, but like I say, it's in me like that. You know, probably one day when it just drop dead. You know, George Clinton, you know, the one thing that I love and that I've been able to do, all the people that I admire in the industry, I've had a chance to work with. You know, Isaac Hayes, Curtis Mayfield, George Clinton, Larry Blackman, you know, all the innovators, you know, of funk and, you know, the style of music that I love growing up, you know. I got a chance to actually, you know, work with them, you know. And a lot of them, you know, they're dying off. I mean, Curtis and Isaac are dead now. I mean, you know, it was a
You worked on the New World Order, right, with Curtis?
Right, yeah. You know, we produced, you know, Curtis Mayfield, Ramondo Thomas, and that's who Rosie. That's the Rosie you're talking about. Rosemary Williams, right?
No.
Is that the one? I'm talking about different. Rosemary Williams.
Rosa, my name, been her name. I just brought it to you.
Oh, okay, now I remember. Yes, yeah, Hispanic. Okay, yeah. I remember that.
I got a good memory.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, that had faded a little bit. But yeah, New World Order, yeah, we did that. In fact, that was a great album. You know, I recorded that while Curtis was paralyzed, and there was a lot of you know, great inspirations. There was a lot of music on there that he really loved. You know, I don't think it got the acclaim that it should have because Warner Brothers sort of dropped the ball on the promotion. I don't even know if that record's going. In fact, I know it ain't going gold or platinum.
But it's a classic.
A classic record, yeah.
Let me take a call. Caller. What's going on?
Well, I mean, don't try to put me in the 60s and 70s. I do records now. That's what I'm saying. I got gold and platinum records on my walls from the 90s, from the 2000s. From you see what I'm saying? I still do this, and like I say, I try to raise the bar constantly. You know, it's innovation out here. You know, I think Drake and the stuff that they're doing with Young Money, I think they're very innovative. You know, I mean, they're doing music that I really like, and it's getting to be more and more musical. You know, Rick Ross' new record, a lot of the stuff that I've heard, coming out of Young Money, period. The producers and the approaches that they're taking, the engineers are taking, with what they're doing, what I'm saying, is very innovative. So you have to have respect for change. When I was in college, I was a jazz musician, basically. I was studying. I used to practice guitar 5 hours a day, practicing to be the best guitar player in the world. And all my teachers, everybody was around, they were sitting around talking about waiting for bebop to come back as the popular music. I very quickly decided I wanted to make some money. I wanted to do this for a living. I wasn't going to sit around and wait for bebop to come back as the, as the new music. So they would call me a sellout. So I started hanging around studios and trying to learn about being a producer. When I told them I was going to be a producer, they laughed at me. Now, see, in the 70s, in order to be a producer, it wasn't like now. It wasn't everybody who has a drum machine or a computer with a sequencing program was a producer. You had to go out and hire a band. Until Prince, and even before Prince, until Stevie Wonder came along and actually played all the instruments himself on an album. That wasn't a thing that happened. You had to hire a band. You had to hire separate musicians. You had to hire a whole orchestra in order, to make a record. So it was expensive. Say it one more time. Oh yeah, I mean, I love what he does, but I mean, they did that from the very beginning. They always have been, have used live instruments. He came along right at a transitional point, see the inventions I've been through. I lived through all those eras, I remember, the first person I saw with the Linn drum, the first person I saw with the synthesizer, the first person, we used to do stuff we couldn't afford synthesizers and stuff, so. That's why I started turning the tape backwards and